Okay, we're back. Welcome to the Nitty Gritty, episode 101. I like that the count is starting over again because now I can keep track of it for at least for a few weeks. But I've got a co-host today, and it's exciting. We've got to beat Andrew and Anna's. You know, they did one when I was out of town, but
it's not even
I have a feeling this is going to be 100 times better than theirs.
There's not a competition.
Plus, we're not defiling my office like Anna did.
Oh, Anna did. Yeah, she put up a Utah flag.
Oh, I was so pissed off. Big old Utah flag right here. I was at Disneyland in line, and I called my staff and made them shut the power off. And they were doing a podcast with probably, arguably, our biggest guest, like social media-wise, the Studio McGee. You know, whatever, 2.5 million followers or whatever.
Shay and Sid. Yes, I love Sid. I love Shay.
So yeah, but I just, all of a sudden the lights went pitch dark. And it was me from Disneyland. So yeah, don't do that again, Anna. But I'm very excited. So Susan, the Godfather, you all know her well. She's a very, very popular person on this podcast. I shared
my third time.
It is your third time. Yeah, this is like 3.0 for you.
Yes.
We had a little bit of a scheduling snafu, and whenever I have a problem, no matter what it is, I call Susan Petersen.
He texted me at 10 p.m. last night.
It pretty much was.
It was 10 p.m. and said, I need help. And I
need
said,
help. I had feelers out everywhere. And of course, this morning I got a bunch of responses, but now I'm going to look good because I have like 5 more podcasts planned out. But an old acquaintance of mine that I totally forgot that we've met before, but we have Lacy West from Laced Hair. I almost said extensions. Is that okay to say that?
It's Laced Hair Extensions.
Okay, Laced Hair Extensions. And holy crap, I'm really excited that you're here because I remember having a lot of fun with you and the couple times that we met.
Yeah, I think us three were a good time together.
We are.
Yeah, I like
very, very reverent people, but just with a little edge.
Yeah, super conservative.
Yeah, Brent might be taking notes for a lot of beeping on this one. And so, but no, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So excited to have you.
I'm glad I could help your scheduling mishaps.
And when she sent the name over, I was like, sometimes when you have the last minute things, you just kind of get who you can. But this is somebody that we would totally,
you guys
would
have
book
her
2
on
months
anyway.
in advance that we would love to have on. And so you have an awesome business, awesome social media.
Thank you.
And so, we're excited to have you. So thanks for coming. And you just got your second dose of COVID vaccine today, I heard.
Oh, yeah.
Pfizer? Moderna?
I did the Pfizer this morning. So
right
I'm like, give me all the caffeine.
I heard it's the Rich Mom. I heard it's a Rich Mom vaccine. Do you feel like that's true?
I think it probably is. Then.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's like if you're rich and fancy, you do Pfizer.
Yeah.
If you're rich and PFANCY, fancy, you do Pfizer.
It totally is.
It's like fat, like pretty hot and tempting.
Yeah.
Pfizer. Yeah, it's not an F. Yeah,
it's P. No, it's PF. Pfizer. But it's rich and fancy. Yeah.
The F is silent.
The F is silent.
It's like yogging. Well, how's that feel? You're feeling okay though? We built like a charcuterie board for her.
Yeah, a meat charcuterie board.
We got some meats. We got some caffeine.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be okay here. Andrew, everyone, is having a really hard 2 weeks. He spent last week in Georgia at the Masters, one of the most exclusive tickets you can ever get. I took him. No big deal.
Sounds rough.
And then he flew home and went straight to Hawaii. So that's where he is right now, while me and Brent are back here, taking care of business. So
I heard it's hot there.
Really? I hope it is. Hope it's really hot there. No, he's awesome. He works his butt off, so I'm glad he's there. But so it's just us 3 today, so it's going to be a little different. I'm normally the one that just observes and says funny stuff, and he's the more organized one. So hopefully Susan can take his place today with notes and
You're
proper
so good at interviewing, Cameron. I told you when I was on.
Oh,
I say stuff to you I never have said, and so I'm excited to observe.
Remember what I said last episode about how sweet you are?
Oh no, I'm still pissed about it.
Don't tell anyone.
Just all your listeners.
With good old Tristan, all of our new favorite child, we all want to adopt him. Tristan Ikaika.
Ikaika.
Better known as, AKA Ikaika now, but.
Yeah.
So Lacy, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited to hear about, so how did you start your business? I know it's a broad, or how long ago did you start? Let's start there.
Well, I've been doing hair for almost 20 years, which I know dates
Aren't you like
me.
24?
I know, it's so crazy.
Wait. How old are you really?
I'm 36.
Seriously?
I know. Doesn't she look fantastic?
Almost
Well, I got to be
37.
careful. I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
But yes, you look like you're 26 years old,
fantastic.
for real.
Yeah, you're
It's the hair
gorgeous.
extensions.
No, it's good skin. You take care of yourself. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Susan said all that, just so everyone knows.
Yes, and I'll say it
I'm
again.
going to get in trouble.
No,
But I agree with everything she says. You do not look 36.
Thank you.
So good work.
Thank you. But yeah, so I've been doing hair 20 years. I got my main start. I worked at the Bellagio Hotel, and this is like 2003.
Okay.
The Bellagio was like the Bellagio. I mean, this is like
early
Ocean's
2000s,
11. You know, this
That was
it
like,
was like
that was like the win.
yeah.
back
That's
then,
why I
right?
say I'm kind of The win opened after I had already started at Bellagio.
Right.
So, but back then extensions were, pretty foreign. No one knew about them, and I fell in love with them because I always had really fine, nasty hair, and so I just loved extensions, and I started doing them way back when. And I had an idea because a lot of my clients would come from literally all over the world to get their extensions done. And I would also travel to LA to do extensions as well. And I just wanted my own inventory. So initially
you were
it was
doing hair in the Bellagio?
Yeah, I was a hairstylist.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was like celebrities.
Right.
I'm so happy I'm here because I can like brag on Lacy
is
a little
awesome.
bit. But it was like celebrities, like high wealth clients, like the upper echelon.
Do you have like a favorite client that you remember? Or are we far enough where you can like talk trash on somebody?
I mean, I should be careful because I still have like this. Like, I feel like I'm almost people's therapist. So, although it's far enough away,
it's not. Like,
and
they
so, but
are
there's
people's
some. I
therapists.
mean, I could tell some good stories. I just don't have to tell who it is. But I mean, people's. I saw some insane things.
Like, what's one off the top of your head? Just one
like,
good quick story.
Like your famous country music guy.
Yeah. Well, I can
Garth
say that
Brooks?
one.
No,
Kenny
can't.
Chesney. Yeah. So
He doesn't even have hair,
I know, but I went and so it was Uncle Cracker.
right?
They were on tour together.
Right.
And I went into one of the villas to cut his hair, and they ended up having me stay the entire birthday party. It was Uncle Cracker's birthday, and they had me stay the whole time. And I was like, well, in order to stay, it's gonna sounds bad out loud, but I'm like, I have to. I can't just go back, and I only had one haircut. Like, I'm gonna get in big trouble. So then all the band members and so all these people were just coming, and I was cutting their hair. But then at the end, when I gave the bill to his manager, Kenny Chesney's manager, he was super pissed. He's like, why is this so much? I'm like, I tried to leave. Like, I didn't want to get in trouble, but they were so nice, and they gave me some passes to go backstage, and they had like this really fun. They had I'm going to say it wrong, mariachi band come.
Yeah.
Mariachi band come. It was just super fun. And the villas in the Bellagio, they're like 5,000 square feet, and they have their own pool. So, I mean, it was super fun. It was really cool. And I was pregnant with my first son. So he
Were you showing?
I was 3 months pregnant, so not very much. And I had on a baggy
I'm waiting
dress.
for which one
they
had the
asked me
crush
to
on
have-
her. You know what I mean?
they asked
They all did, obviously.
Right.
Well, the one was the one that I had a crush on, although I was married, but I'm divorced now from that guy, so it's okay. But the guy from Scottsdale, he's super hot. Was he the guitarist or the drummer? I don't know. Anyways, but I was like, sorry, he didn't really hit on me, but I was letting you know I was in case, I'm like,
This is all
oh,
gonna
sorry,
be over in 6 more months.
Sorry, we can't.
But
this
Noah,
can't
my
go
son-
anywhere because I'm pregnant with another.
Yeah, but Noah, my son,
and married.
still is loves that story of because Kenny Chesney, he rubbed my stomach, was like, oh, name him
way.
Kenny.
Does
That
he
was
like
a really
puka
cool
shell
story.
necklaces, your son?
And he, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought, but
that Pfizer gets you.
I know.
That's what it is. You have something to blame for the next few days, right?
Yes.
For any
Seriously.
lapses.
I'm
He
like, I
liked
need to
puka
sleep.
shell necklaces.
Long walks on the
Long
beach.
walks on the beach.
bare feet in the sand.
Yes.
Doesn't he say that a lot in the songs?
He's always
Probably.
barefoot somewhere.
I actually really like.
Is he 5 o'clock somewhere? No, that's someone else.
No, that's Alan. That's Jimmy Buffett technically, but it was Alan Jackson that sang it. The one that you're
5
thinking
o'clock
of.
somewhere.
I only listen to country music in the summer with the windows down. I feel like there's
so
an
you listen to the pop
appropriate-
country, like the summertime, like where they all talk
You
about.
listen to country music with me. I love country music.
I
I do
love
too.
country music, but I just feel like
I
there's
don't
an
like new country
appropriate
music.
time and place. And it's usually in your car with the windows down.
Yeah, that's
True.
fair. Because that's kind of how country is now. It's not
Yeah.
like storytelling anymore.
Like,
it's just
Yeah, you're
Cut off
in your
jeans, coolers, and
two-tone
beer.
Chevy going out to the levee. That's Kenny.
see
Going
Kenny.
out to the
Early
levee.
2000, like I actually
I
used to
love-
really
yes,
like Kenny
yeah.
Chesney's music, and it's,
His live albums are honestly some of the best.
he got really,
he really was my
beachy,
favorite. Yeah.
but well, that's way cool.
Yeah, that was one of my
So how did
favorite
the
stories.
Bellagio thing happen? Because I mean, you're pretty young at that point, right?
Yeah, I was a teenager when I started working there.
So were you from Vegas? Were you from?
No,
like-
my family's from Vegas. My dad's side of the family, but I'm from southern Utah, and it's like 2 hours away. And
Right.
it was my second home, so Vegas made sense. Lived there with my family, and to be honest, I love my little town of Cedar City, but the opportunities, I wanted something bigger. Always wanted something more for myself in my career. So
how,
it's hard in a
how
small
did
town.
so you went to hair school.
yeah,
Where'd you go to hair school?
it's called Evans Cosmetology,
Like
Southern
here-
Utah.
Oh, Southern
yeah.
Utah. So I mean, I would imagine getting a job like the Bellagio, you would need to like have a clientele or like
Well, I started
no
out as an
social media
assistant.
really back then,
Oh,
right?
definitely no. Social
You
media.
start you're sweeping the floor.
But I mean, even
I
getting
started at the
in there to
bottom.
get a job, I would imagine would be difficult, right?
Yeah,
That's like the
applied.
hottest hotel in town in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you had to have that look, like Lacy.
Okay, that's
Lacy's
fair.
got a look, and then also you just are working like 12 hours. Just
Yeah, I had
So you got an entry level.
entry level, and I also lucked out because they normally their assistants are like two years where you have to train,
Right.
but they were expanding the salon, and I only assisted for 6 months, so I was on the floor doing hair at the Bellagio when I was 19. And
So right
but I
place,
was
right
like, I'll
time
just
too,
say
right?
I'm really good at hair.
She
like
really
I'll
is.
brag about it. Like I
Oh, you should.
there's some things, but I was really good at hair, so they let me on early. But my manager used to tell me that I need to lie about my age because my haircuts were like $120, and this is
Right.
2003. So
It's like
haircuts
$350
being-
today.
yeah,
Right.
with inflation.
Right.
So but yeah, so my haircuts were that much money, and people would kind of be bothered. They were like, "Oh, I don't want to give this 19-year-old that graduated from hair school 6 months ago that much money to do my hair."
Well, it's like, listen,
But
if it's good, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's where I got
It's
my
like,
start.
how much did they pay LeBron when he was 19 years old? Like
Exactly.
40
The rookie.
million?
Yeah, the
Exactly.
rookie. See,
It's like, if you're good, you're good.
I never thought of that, but it's true.
it's a
Right.
really good
It's a really-
correlation.
yes.
I see it right to right. Yeah.
Don't make fun
Okay,
of
so
me,
then
Susan.
when did you start your? I will forever.
Well, she's the LeBron of hair. It was a compliment,
100.
right?
When did you start with the extensions? Like, how did you go about that?
And so extensions were, like I mentioned earlier, it was pretty foreign. Hardly anyone knew about extensions. It was for celebrities when I lived in Vegas. So a lot of the dancers were my clients as well.
I bet that was fun.
Man, those are some good stories right there. But it was like, it was really fun, but I loved extensions. And so I did extensions before I started my own brand. And like I said, I started getting flown places. People have like picked me up in their planes to fly me to go do their hair.
Unreal.
And it was super cool. You know, I'm this single, like 21-year-old in Vegas. It was a really fun life. But yeah, because I was doing that back then, there weren't a lot of places to get extensions and incredible colors and good quality. So, you know, my mind, I was like, oh, that's probably really easy to start your own brand. I'll do it. Of course, wasn't. But so yeah, I just started trying samples and just making up my own colors and figuring some things out. Back then, and this will make sense to your wife who's in the hair world, but there's colors that are ombre colors, meaning it's dark on the top and then gets lighter. That's called ombre.
That means
And
man
then
in
like
Spanish.
side by side.
You know that?
No, not
Not
ombre.
ombre.
Ombre. That's
It's a-
hunger.
It has a silent P.
Tango
it's
ombre.
OMBRE.
And
It's not H. It has a silent P.
I
I'm
hunger
impressed
for good
with this
extensions.
lesson today from Suze. So, but I created all these custom colors too, and just And like I said, it was for my own use, but then a lot of my hairstylist friends were like, oh, wow, well, I want it. And then a lot of people didn't know how to do extensions, so I started training. And
this is still like
yeah.
20, 21 years old?
Well, this is like I started when I was 26 officially. Like my own brand. Yeah, the business.
Okay, so where did that, because it seems like there's like this entrepreneurial kind of spirit going on, right? Like you were kind of a hustler.
Yeah.
Right? Like you got in, swept, like confident, obviously. 19 years old, it's like I'm good enough to charge this much at the hottest probably hotel.
Yeah, I mean, it was really scary, but I think I'm a sweet talker, so I charmed my way through.
Well, you're
probably
a sweet talker,
some really shitty haircuts,
crappy haircuts. Really? You think so?
Probably at the beginning, I didn't.
Believe me,
I've
gotten
better.
It.
She's pretty good. Oh, bad haircuts? Is that why you left her?
Oh, whatever.
Is that why you guys don't?
No, Lacy used to. Do you know how long do you think it takes to get your extensions done?
Well, I mean, I know how much like a color. Color is a few hours, right?
Yeah. So how long do you think for extensions?
I guess wait, are they already colored to your hair?
Mm-hmm.
I would say a couple hours, maybe.
Like 7.
Oh, damn.
So I would go over to Lacy's house and she would put them in.
They're fighting.
Listen, she would put them in and then it would be like 2 a.m, so I'd go home and then I'd come back the next day to have her finish them. And she would always be like, let's just do your hair real quick. And she would braid it and like fluff up. Like I looked like she'd just like send me home looking like a polygamous.
Because she was looking ahead, like I know what the end product's going to look like, but until you have the extensions
because it was
in,
because you have to put in really long hair and then cut it up to the length
just come back from Colorado City in the morning.
So she'd like braid it. I'd have like the big poof up top. She'd be like, "Okay, good night. See you
under
tomorrow."
A bonnet just to hold it all together.
There's other methods that don't take as long, but to be fair, we were like laughing at blogs and Instagram was new, so we were having a good time. And it was 2 a.m. because Susan and I are such hard workers. We were working all day and then momming it at night. So we had to start hair at like 9 p.m.
Yeah, no.
See, and that's one thing that I've always I kind of love about the podcast is you always forget, like we've had all these powerful women in here, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's the momming thing that just has to
throw that in there.
That's the thing. Like you have to deal with that at the same time. You know what I mean? And even when men, and I'm not dissing my people, okay? But you know, we don't, when we start a business, we don't really have to deal with that. And so it's usually twice as much work.
Well, and even if there is a good split of like the responsibility going on, when your kids are really little, they want their mom. Even
when they're older, like there's just some things that you can't replace. Like they're going to want mom, right? But yeah, and I love how nonchalant you say it, but I mean, it's tough, right?
Yeah, I'd come over, put my babies down, come over. She'd put her babies down.
Right.
And then she'd be on her feet.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So,
just doing the hair.
Where'd you grow up? Cedar City, you said. How many kids in your family? It's always fun to kind of hear, because I mean, at 19, you seem like you're pretty driven and you seem like you kind of have an idea of where you want to go already. Like, where does that come from? Like parents entrepreneurs? Or are they?
My parents are not entrepreneurs. Yeah. Definitely my mom's a really hard worker though. I had a working mother in the home. So to me, that wasn't like, although culturally, especially for like my age.
In the home, or she was she worked?
She worked full time.
I see.
Yeah. And then had some side hustling to help. And my stepdad raised me. My real dad died when I was really, really little. My stepdad raised me, but he was a truck driver. So very humble family.
Was he like a long haul truck driver?
It varied different years. You know, he was like a true Alabama song, some of it, the 18-wheeler song, and then sometimes it was just like around town, depending on the year. Yeah. So.
And then turn off the alarm. Sorry. Well, interesting. So where did you fall? How many kids were in the family? I guess you have stepbrothers and sisters too.
Yeah,
huh?
It's really confusing. We need a whole nother podcast.
I've got the same story. So,
but there's a lot of us. We'll just say that, and we keep finding more.
But all living.
They do. It's not a joke.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? Is that Papa Bear?
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Spreading the seed.
Dad.
He had
my real
second
dad.
life.
Real. See, I've read some stories about my great grandpa. He's a real.
Oh yeah, 23andMe is. 23andMe is like we're finding out some stuff, like
really?
some families. Yeah, but not from my mom's side. It's my dad's side. They were just, it's just a different time, But yeah, he's
I like how we say that.
Really handsome.
It's just a different time.
Yeah. He was just a really handsome, went to law school, drove a motorcycle.
So maybe there's a little bit of your dad in you, right? Just, attractive, like,
I was like, what are we getting at with that?
Oh, no, I didn't mean that way. I'm just saying, like, here's the thing. I always talk about with ADHD, right? CEO or convict. Like that, you're pretty much doomed to one or the other. Like if you don't have any moral compass, we'll just be humping everything and stealing everything and doing, crashing cars. But if we can focus it, we usually are entrepreneurs. And so it's like, he probably had a lot of really great talents. If he was hooking up with chicks all the time, you got to have some sales skills, right? And
he was a closer.
He was a closer, right? Yeah. So anyway,
But yeah, so I guess the hardworking side, I would say from what I know, my mom was always a really hard worker, like I said. Sure. So it was normal that my mom would work. And I loved working. And the entrepreneurial side, it's interesting because a lot of girls would go babysit, 13, 14-year-olds. And what I did is I found all the old ladies in the neighborhood, and I went and would offer to clean their houses for them on Saturday mornings. And why I wanted the old ladies in the neighborhood, it's because their houses weren't messy, and all I would have to do is like dust and like vacuum. Because I didn't want to babysit. I had two little brothers at home.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. So when I think about that story makes me laugh because I'm like, I guess it started way back when.
Don't really know if you even came. You could even tell them like.
Yeah, I send
like it was nice being at your home this morning.
Send Mrs. Clark the bill, and yeah.
She's like, you came over? Oh, yeah, I was there all morning.
We
had oatmeal together.
So, yeah, I started that, I guess, because I didn't really want to babysit.
So this is some inborn stuff, right? I remember my best friend, Andrew, Andrew would offer him at he would offer her at 6 years old. Like, I'll give you $25 if you clean your room. And she would then go off to her mom and say, Mom, I will give you 15 cents if you clean my room. Like she was thinking like that at 6 years old, right? Like
very smart.
I can get my room clean and still pocket a dime.
Right.
This is going to be great. So, it's kind of the same thing.
Hattie would get $5 from me if I offered her a quarter. Really? Yes. Oh, she's good.
Dang it, I don't have a quarter.
I taught her how to negotiate and she's killing it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I would say I'm Lacy's biggest fan. But Lacy works hard. Let me just start again. Lacy works harder than anyone I know. She has MS, and we should get into that, honestly. But she is the most involved mom ever. She does not have a nanny currently. And I don't
one.
Currently. She's like, we're looking for one.
And so she gets it all done. And she's downplaying some of it, but no one works harder than Lacy.
Well, just looking at your Instagram, I could kind of tell that. And I like that you share that. There's a couple posts where it's just I actually run, like that post that I actually run my own company. Mm-hmm. Where you're just, and I think it was kind of like not a time lapse, but just kind of collage of
their reels
teaching and doing hair and reels.
Yeah. Reels now.
I can't.
It's the real deal.
Get on it, Cameron.
I know. I'm so over social media. It's so hard. I just can't ever think of anything to post. Don't start. I know. Susan gets mad at me about that.
I don't get mad. I've just tried to help you for years and you don't want help and you don't want to do it. So we're not even going to talk about it anymore.
I just need to hire someone.
Moving on.
Anyway, back to Lacy. Well, okay. The MS thing, we okay to talk about that?
Yeah.
I mean, she brought it up, but
she has
it's
her
your
own
MS. So if you don't want to talk
she
about
has a charity related to that too.
Yeah.
That is a really hard thing. And I feel like I'm seeing it more often now. Like, what is that? Like, is there something to that? I think there's just
early detection, right?
Oh, is that what it is?
I think that, and then probably just like anything else, people just are more aware because of, the internet and the resources and...
and just taking care of ourselves. Like, I feel like back in the day, it was just like, if something's bugging you or hurt, like, you just bury it and like, just get through it, right? Mm-hmm. And we weren't just paying attention, maybe. Mm-hmm. Like we weren't, or we didn't care, or it was not really okay to care even. Like how many moms just buried something just because they knew they had to get it done, right?
Yeah.
And that's just
sometimes you don't have a choice as a mom, especially.
So what did you notice? What was there something physically that?
My diagnosis, I can try and like shorten it because, of course, like I said, it is a really long story. But I've always suffered from really bad headaches, but they started getting really, really bad, like migraines. A lot of people get migraines. It doesn't necessarily mean you have MS, but they started getting worse, and I started noticing my hands going numb, and I would just forget things. And it was really hard. I just kind of chalked it up because at the time I was a single mom with the 2 boys. So I just chalked it up with being busy. I was on my feet all day. I was exhausted. I was starting this new company that was starting to really take off. And then I was still behind the chair because I did hair full time to support the growth of Lace because I didn't have money or investors or anything.
Jeez,
so
you're a single mom.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And like the most involved, like doesn't miss a baseball game. Her kids are in all the sports. Like the most involved. I don't do sports for my kids because I'm too lazy.
Sports ball, Susan.
It's so hard.
But it's a lot of work, and her kids are really good at sports. And so she's gone all the time. Yeah. So busy.
As soon as you're
literally no sleep.
7 foot tall, 13-year-old signs that first major league contract, you're going to look back and be like, it was worth it.
I hope so. But yeah, so I one day woke up and my face was numb, and it was Thanksgiving weekend. So I was with my family, and my sisters were sisters and can kind of like be total assholes to each other. And but my sister, that's kind of the nicer of the two, which they probably won't listen to this podcast anyways, Kristen and Stephanie. But Kristen, the nicer one, was like, Lacy, what's wrong with your face? And so I was like, what? Like, that's something the other one would say to me, And I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, well, and so I looked in the mirror, and I mean, it did looked like I had, it was completely numb and just drooping on the left side. So I'm like, well, this is weird. And then, it was, like I said, it was Thanksgiving weekend. So it was a Saturday. And of course, like my Black Friday sale was going on, all this stuff. And I was down in Southern Utah, and I actually have I have a lot of people in my family. My cousin was a nurse. My uncle works in the ER, and my mom works at the hospital as well. So we went to the store, and I had a seizure at the store. But it was there's different levels of seizure, but I had a seizure, and then my mom just kind of like, she just said, I know there's definitely something wrong, and I don't want you to go to the hospital in Cedar City. She's like, you need to go home, go to Salt Lake. So I drove to Salt Lake, went to, when you check in and your face looks like that, they just take you right back just in case you have a stroke. So they did an MRI and found, what they thought was a brain tumor. And so anyways, I was knocked out for the MRI because instantly they do different types of MRIs where maybe they're mapping out a brain surgery. But when I came to, I was in an ambulance, and I was like, oh my gosh, looking around, I had no clue. And so the ambulance driver actually told me, bless his heart, he goes, I'm so sorry to hear about your brain tumor. And I was like, what? Because I didn't know. Anyway, so they took me in the ambulance to the U. I know, bless his heart.
You don't even know where you are, and he drops that bomb.
I know. I tried to complain to not have to pay for the ambulance ride, but I still had to pay for it. So, so they took me up to the U, and they checked me in, and we were scheduling brain surgery the next day. And then this other doctor came in, because there's a whole team of doctors. This other doctor came in, and he said that. He goes, that looks like it could be something else. And the brain tumor was in an inoperable spot anyways. So they said, I don't think we should give this girl brain surgery and have like all the risks that come along with it if we can't remove that tumor anyways. We can watch it and see if it grows. And there's other ways you can tell if it's cancerous. So we're just kind of on a waiting game. And so there was a chance maybe it was MS. And after 5 months of waiting, they gave me a diagnosis of MS because of how the now I know it's a lesion, how it was reacting. And so I always say the MS diagnosis is the best worst news ever because it meant I didn't have a cancerous brain tumor that would kill me, but it was really depressing to hear that you have MS.
Right, because that's kind of a lifelong, I mean, it's treatable, right? Sort of. It could be like
but meanwhile, can I just also, like, she was growing her company at this time. Her company didn't stop growing during those 5 months.
2 kids.
Single mom, 2 kids. I think you moved both your salon and your house during that time.
Yeah.
During those 5 months.
But you owned a salon?
I opened a salon right after that diagnosis.
Yes. Like she was really getting it ready. Like
None of us could do that.
She was like stopping when she had to like break down a little bit, but like as a single mom you really can't stop, and Lacy she just would like pick herself up every morning and just get it done.
I really do think being a single mom helped my business be successful because 100%. I didn't have the financial like from my ex-husband, I didn't have like the support, but financially I was responsible for as a lot of single moms are. Even if you do get some help, it's not enough to support your kids. So I think because of these 2 boys that needed me, it made me work that much harder. And I'll just say it. I mean, there's inspiring things to say, of course, that come from my story, but I like success and I like money. And I think that I was driven by, wow, I really created something and I was proud of it and wanted to keep it going.
100%.
Yeah, to have the life I wanted to have.
It's a very empowering thing.
Super organized around like wealth building opportunities during that time too. I remember you like you got all the life insurance stuff in order. You got the will in order. Like she was ready.
And
for worst case scenario.
Like what year was this, like roughly?
2015.
2015, yeah. Wow.
And then my diagnosis of the MS was 2016. So.
Wow. So with MS, just for people that don't really know.
But for real, like she's a badass.
Well, that I think is very obvious now. Like, holy crap. But what's the routine with MS? Like what do you have to do now because I know MS, can it kind of come and go as far as like...
Yeah, and like the
you
term...
can have good days, bad days, but like, what about like, are there meds? Are there, what's the treatment for MS? Just for people
just like it states in its name, multiple sclerosis, there's like multiple different phases, multiple different stages, different people are affected differently. There are people that have to walk with canes and that are in wheelchairs, and it can be completely debilitating. And then there's people that have MS and it's on a smaller scale, which is usually the younger people have it at a smaller scale. But there are women my age that have it that are in a wheelchair because it's more progressive than mine is, which I feel very lucky all the time. But there are several different medications out there now that help. When I'm having a bout is what it's called. I go and get my steroid infusion treatments, and those treatments can be different variability for people.
Just are they shots?
It's like a infusion treatment. So I go to Huntsman Cancer Institute and get hooked up and get pumped with some steroids for like 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And do that for a week.
Does that help? Like, do you really feel it? Like,
it helps the inflammation in your body. For me, I haven't had anything happen like to my spine, but I do have the lesions in my brain. But there are people that get a lot more lesions than I have, that can cover your entire brain. And that's where, the slurred speech and the motor skills and stuff, because those lesions are scars, so they don't go away. So, and currently there is no cure.
That's the thing. Like there's no, and is it genetic? Is it?
It can't, it's interesting because definitely it can be genetic, but there are people that have it and they have no clue.
No one else has.
And different factors can make it worse. Like super cold, can make it worse, or super hot.
Interesting.
Which, funny, I'm building a house in Park City right now. Super cold. Yeah. So I stay inside.
Lots of insulation. You're fine. 2x6 walls. A little more insulation. So was there ever a point where you're just like, what the hell am I doing? Like where you just, did you ever hit a point where you just wanted to give up, or? Or was it just because of the circumstances that it just never got there? You just fought.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of times that
because
I think as business owners, as anyways, you like want to give up like every other day because it's
single mom business owner with MS, like 2 kids. I would have given up right away. Like I would have been done.
But I think because
Cameron,
of the kids,
you would give up if you had to bleed for a week, a month.
Oh,
100%.
Should we not go there, please? Me, hers. Jess Toulson has helped me a lot. I love her. Right? But 100%, I have no problem admitting that. Like I could never, ever, ever be a woman. Ever. I would just jump off a bridge. Like I couldn't handle it. I'm not strong enough. So
thank you.
But I can lift heavy things.
100%.
You can't do that.
Nope, we need you for that.
And you're
so
super
there
tall.
are some.
Yes,
and
you're really tall.
And I'm fun.
And this
You're
is
way
like
fun.
this brisket I just ate was so good. I'm taking that home.
You're glad I'm here.
Yeah, we
Thank
appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you, Lacy.
there's
Thank
no.
you, Susan.
We love you. Sorry,
So
Lacy,
men are
I
needy, right?
interrupted.
Are we?
No, it's okay. I don't remember where I was.
You were
No, it's
when you
all
were going to
good.
give up.
I just asked if there was ever that moment because I mean, it's hard enough to have. I mean, single mom, 2 kids. You opened a freaking salon. You're now doing the hair extension thing. It's like, what's that old "Hit Me Again, Ike"? Like the Tina Turner joke. What movie was that? Like "Hit Me Again." It's like, do you ever just feel like, seriously, I can't handle? Can you just stop like adding things to the backpack, please, God?
Yeah.
And
and I do think I also just feel really lucky with my business and the success it started to have. It was really fun for me. And I just wanted to I wanted to keep growing. And I always say I want to be like Susan Petersen when I grow up. And
me too.
That helped. Yeah, I want to be Susan Petersen when I grow up.
She's a godfather.
She's not that much older than me, but but still, she's so mature and responsible and stuff. You know.
She is. She's very clean language.
I'm going to tell you right now, Lacy never threw in the towel even a little bit.
It's an awesome, and you can tell you're very much just minimizing it and normalizing it, which I get. Like that's why we're here, right? Like we're supposed to be able to say like, nope, quit being all humble. That's bullcrap. Like you did something very amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Well, I think the boys, I think you were right because you were a single mom. It was like, it's do or die all the time. And you never really had an opportunity to say, I'm just going to take a back seat.
Couldn't stop.
No, she couldn't.
Right? Yeah.
You couldn't.
Well, and that's like I say, the single mom thing, it creates, you hear about women that are going to college, finishing, master's programs and everything as well as single moms. And it's like, because we have this like different motivation. And I love and respect single moms because we also have this like mom guilt at the same time because it's like my kids
that's
were
a great
home.
point right there.
Yeah. The mom guilt we have anyways.
Right.
It's like,
you guys have that if the family room's not clean on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
But I'm always telling you, like, I don't know a better mom than Lacy. I really feel that way. Don't cry.
See how sweet she is? I love it.
No, but for real, like, there's not someone, she is at every game. You pick them up every day from school. Like, she is there all the time.
And you know what? It's like, you deserve to succeed with all that. And
you cook like the most gourmet, beautiful, like vegetarian, gluten-free.
You lost me. You just lost me.
No.
You just
There's
lost me
vegetables
right there.
involved, but I'm not a vegetarian.
You just
gluten-free.
I do love
beautiful meals. Yes, she does everything.
You're awesome. And you know what? And that's what, because a lot of people are going through it. It's funny because obviously most of us look back at our hardest things and we end up being very grateful for them.
Yeah.
Like if that stuff wasn't happening, who knows? Maybe Lace Terra isn't here, right? Like that, you really didn't have a choice. And as hard as that is, that's where we grow the most. That's where we get the most reward. That's where, I mean, in a sense, it was all worth it. And not only that, now you can stare at somebody going through that same thing that you were going through and say, no, you can do that. Like you can start a business being a single mom with 2 kids. well, it's so much work. I'm like, well, do you want to add MS in there and then see if you can still do it? Like, well, you can.
And
Newsflash.
and always have the kids and always
right.
Yeah.
And so it's we need those stories. We need the inspiration.
Well, and that's
but you also need people like us, like reminding you how amazing you
flatter
are.
me a little bit.
Yeah.
So thank
No, I always just want to be a reflection of like, I see you hustling and it's so inspiring for me. And you went like, I'm going to shut up.
I love you, Steve. You're the best.
Lacy's always inspired me to be a better mom. She's so fun. She does all these fun things. Even how you run your business, it's so inspiring. And so I think not only can you inspire people who are going through the same thing, but I think just as anyone can look to you and be inspired by
anyone. And that, see, that's the other thing. Like this podcast, it's so funny the direction that it's kind of gone in. But, you know, until recently, I would say that like one of the things that we're really loving about this is men can be inspired too. Like one thing that I kind of don't like about all these hardcore women entrepreneurs is you're not letting men in enough because
you're like on thin ice. Babe.
You know what I mean? Like I am so inspired by all the women that have come in here, and it's been really fun to kind of see it through. I think that's what makes ours a little different is there's two dudes in here usually asking the questions, and it's from a different perspective. And we want more men to see like, hey, see how like women are born to multitask. Like women have an inherent ability to be a CEO like no other, right? I mean, to handle all, juggle all the, well, that'll sound bad. To juggle all I almost said balls. I'm sorry. But I mean,
know what balls are.
Yeah. Those things. Oh my God. So many good jokes right there. I held it in. I don't want to give Brent more work, but I mean, you do have to be able to handle a lot of things at once. And I feel like women are, especially moms, are generally better at that than we are. And it's been so funny how for years and years and years, it's always been the business world is men, like homemaker or stay at home is women. And that's just how it goes. And it's like, it's kind of funny to see now that it's like, no, like Annie has run Bam Bam since the beginning. Like I could not have done it without Annie. I don't think a dude could do what Annie has done for the last 7 years, right? And so I think it's really cool for men to be able to be inspired by all of this stuff as well, because there aren't a lot of people that, I don't know that there are a lot of men that could have started your business with all of the
single dad, MS.
Yeah,
it'd be hard.
I mean, they can do it.
I think it'd be hard for
sure.
anyone. Take gender out of it. I think it'd be hard for anyone. And I think that's what's so remarkable about Lacy is you're sitting here and she's like, oh yeah. And then I had brain lesions and I have to go get
seriously
transfusions. And then my business is growing really good. Like she's just like downplaying it. But for real, that's how she acts about it all.
Well, and it's a compliment to your character because you grew up with some hard stuff. I grew up with a lot of divorce in my family. Like both my parents have been divorced twice. That's really hard.
It's interesting how, and that's what you say. Like you just do it. I think I haven't always had like, and I'm very grateful for my past. But I like my parents got divorced when I was 1 and my dad died when I was 5 and I'm not being like, oh, woe is me. I'm just saying like I've always known that things aren't always super easy and and it's okay. Like and it's interesting because and that's where I do hope I can inspire people. And like one of the reasons, like Susan mentioned, I started my charity. So women
what's it called?
The Lace Hair Foundation. So women suffering from hair loss. It could be from medical or because even when you have, you have a baby right now, I have a 6-month-old. So like I have all these new hairs and just new hairs growing in and women lose their confidence when their hair starts to fall out for medical reasons, whatever reasons. So what we do is we offer them extensions. So we ship. People can nominate themselves or their mom or their best friend, whoever, and then we read their stories and we can send hair. We send hair all over the country, and then a hairstylist can put it in for them. And we have some really incredible stories with that. Just like how women feel inspired.
Do you know Kim White? Do you remember Kick It with Kim?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
she's a friend of mine, and I just remember like she had a few people come in and do makeovers for her, like as things were getting closer. Because she used to say all the time, like she would be all self-conscious about how she looks in the hospital room, and it's like, are you serious? Like you just had your 67th surgery, like you look great, but
there's something about women.
She would just light up, like you see that those stories about somebody coming in and getting some makeup done or getting a massage or a facial or just. Well, it's a big deal still.
Have you seen those reels on Instagram where people will give a homeless guy like a haircut?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think everyone there's something about someone touching you and you feel loved, and then you feel like you feel better about yourself.
100%.
I lost a lot of my hair during all the treatments when they were trying to figure out what was wrong with me.
Right.
I lost like almost 70% of my hair.
Wow.
And so I was sitting at the Huntsman Cancer Institute. So although people go there to get infusions, chemo and regular infusions for autoimmune diseases like mine. And so, but a lot of the women there were cancer patients, and they complimented my hair, because at the time I was just wearing some of my clip-in extensions. And so, I would talk to them. I'm sitting there for hours, and and talk to the nurses, and they were like, wow, So they were like, how is your hair so pretty? And I'm like, oh, well, it's all hair extensions. And so, but a lot of them were like, oh, when I can afford it, I'm for sure going to come get some extensions from you. And I was like, you know what? Like, it would be so incredible to
be able to that.
Because I own an extension company. And so I'm like, I can give them some hair. And so I'm like, no, I'll give you some hair. Just let me know.
Wow.
And so from there, that's where I wanted to create the charity. And
for you.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Man, she really is awesome.
Told you.
Man. Well, so it's so hard to transit because all this stuff is so deep and it's so amazing, but I kind of want to learn more about hair extensions now. Like how does that for dudes? Okay. We don't really know. A lot of us like hair extensions, right? Because we all like long hair, but what are they? Are they real hair?
Yeah. So
like real human being hair?
Yeah. If it's a great company like mine, it's 100% human hair.
Really? So do you have growers that work for you? Or?
So it's
that was a joke.
There are women that sell their hair overseas, and I have a broker that sources that and then makes my hair for me, and then
so when you say makes my hair, what does that mean?
What
like puts it together, or
well, they put it together into our 7 different methods. The method Susan was complaining about because it takes so long is called keratin bonds. So that's one method.
Sorry, she was busy that day, Susan.
There's wefts, there's tape-in extensions, there's clip-in extensions, I-tip. So there's all these different kinds.
What's the best version? Is there one that's better than the other?
Common.
Or,
right now, the most popular method is hand-tied and machine sewn. So like a weft is really popular right now.
So you would get a braid cam like this. I'm showing right across the back of your head, and then they'll tie it into.
Yeah. So that's one way. Yeah. You can braid it in, or you can put it in with beads, or there's a million ways to put them in. And I also teach. Our education is one of our biggest forms of revenue right now, and one of our reasons for so much growth. Right. So I teach. We have an online academy that I filmed, and women all over the world can buy that and become certified. We offer several different courses with that. And then we have in-person trainings as well. And I have, I go to some of those. And then I also have, I think there's like 10 educators on my team now, and they're kind of all over.
So
and
COVID kind of
that
help you get this stuff dialed in, some of the online stuff? Or was that there before?
Online helped, COVID helped with online, but the in-person classes were like on 2020 Q1 and Q2 obviously were very different because we couldn't do any in-person classes. And then when they could pick back up again, we were safe and wearing masks, but they were very small. We would, have 15 in a class. It went down to like 3 in a class. Wow. So, but it's starting to pick up back again. And I just landed last night when Susan called me. I was like finally laying in bed. I was in Houston for one of my 2-day advanced trainings where girls that have gone to a class, they can continue their education and come to another one. And it was like a 2-day seminar. And we had a bunch of stylists from all over come to that. We were in Houston teaching that.
So as a hairdresser, I mean, I imagine it gives them a totally different avenue of making money if you're certified to do that.
A lot more
revenue. Yeah. And that's what I always say. And I use my story too. And I just say, I've been doing extensions for so long and they're still new to some people, but I made so much money to be able to support my family. I helped because of extensions. I helped support my ex-husband was in law school and I had a really good job doing extensions. And then when I became a single mom, I was able to afford a nanny and be able to work. And I made really good money. And, I would leave work to go, like Susan said, to a baseball game. That was important for me. But when you don't offer extensions as a stylist, you can't make as much money and so I actually stopped doing men's haircuts and colors.
There we go again.
I know.
There we go again. Men get cut
always
out of everything.
looking for a way to be.
There we go.
Like,
not invited to any of the
woe
business
is
classes.
me. Yeah. So
It's really hard to be a guy, you guys. We have to pee standing up. Just kidding.
Shut up, Cameron.
I just want to hang out with you guys. Give me a break. Jeez.
Yeah, because when you do like a haircut or a color, you're making between $100 to $300. But when you're doing extensions, it's like $1,500 to $3,000. Like it's massively different.
Wow.
And then for a girl, you got to get your hair colored every like 6 to 8 weeks. You got to get your extensions moved up at the same time. And so if you keep your hair, then it's not as expensive, but it's still, the process is really expensive.
Sure. So how long do will they last forever if you take good care of them, just like normal hair, or does it?
They're normal. They are normal human hair. So they do need to be trimmed, and I would say anywhere from like 6 months to a year, and you do need new hair because you're curling it every day. And where there's no new growth. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that people do for $1,500 to $3,000 a year, I guess.
Especially
the one I do, you have to get new hair every time.
Yeah.
Lacey calls me super high maintenance.
But I always say, like it costs less than like a fly rod, So I always tell my clients to say that to their husbands, like, oh, how much was your hunting gear or your fly rods or your
the outdoor stuff. Yeah, if they're hunters or
I know gear. Yeah,
that stuff's expensive, and they'll have to have the Sitka camo.
Yeah.
It's like the gloves are $180.
Yeah, it's expensive.
For each season of camo. Like, well, that's just the winter camo, honey. You need the summer gloves as well. Mossy oak.
Yeah, and you wear your hair every day.
For sure.
So it's more important. And if anyone needs help justifying it, I'm really good at helping women justify
Not only sell, justify, but also lay down guilt trips.
She's a closer.
Yeah, even a purse you don't use every day. So, but you wear your hair every day, so it should be your most important accessory.
Lacy.
Okay.
Would you say? So I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. What has your growth been like over the last year through COVID?
Surprisingly, we had a few scary months, and I, unfortunately had to downsize staff, and we obviously closed the salon, and it was scary. Salons all over the country were closed. I was devastated. I was scared. I was pregnant. I'm remarried now for the listeners.
Right. I do want to talk about that actually.
So, and I was like newly pregnant and just really stressed. And when you have a business, and I have, obviously have like a 6-month order plan, and all of a sudden I had all these orders in because we were growing, and we had like an incredible 2020 January and February, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm not gonna have enough money to pay for all these orders. Like what? Right. And it was stressful. It was
those
awful.
Aren't really things you can.
It was scary.
It's like if you can do these things at home, you blow up, right? But hair extensions, you need.
Yeah, and
a hairdresser, right?
Yeah. And so it was scary.
Well, and people were you were letting go. You were letting go of stuff like that.
Of extras, right?
Yes. Yeah. You're just sitting at home. No one's gonna see it.
Yeah. So people were anyways, it was really scary. But after the first few months of COVID, when things started opening back up and I think people weren't traveling. I mean, honestly, I don't know exactly what it was. Probably the whole like not giving up thing as well, that I have.
Like,
I tried to just keep
feel
working.
Normal again.
They wanted to feel normal. Women will give up something like they'll give up their nails before they'll give up their hair extensions.
Everyone stopped wearing makeup because you're wearing a mask most of the time.
Right.
And so people were still spending money on their hair. And then our salon reopened and but my online sales.
Your salon.
Our salon was closed until May. We were pretty like early May.
We were 9 weeks.
It was pretty early. But my online business was the one that was kind of scary. But I do have a salon and it works as a brick and mortar store. But my online business is the one that's global. So that one's really busy but we've kind of been crushing it. So it was scary at first, and the last little bit, we've done some awesome collaborations, had some new products launch, education's back up, online education's back up, and we just, I mean, our March was
surprises because from all this. Like, is there anything happening right now that you're just like surprised about, like something taking off or?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm happy because I worked so hard for
relief, I'm sure.
All of our education. But right now there's so much competition in my world and there's competition everywhere. But I think just, me still being busy, it's kind of like, although there's competition, we're kind of helping each other because we're just spreading more knowledge about it. That's and true. So
there's room for
I'm actually making more, even though there's a new extension company popping up like every week. Right. And that used to really get to me because it scared me and I was thinking more like scarcity mentality instead of like, just keep working hard and now it doesn't faze me and there's a lot to go around and we have never, our growth has been insane in 2021 already.
See, and that's the thing. So it's like, and at that point you want everyone to do well because it's like, hey, we're doing great. The scarcity thing is a real thing. Like I remember in Austin, when I cooked in Austin, it was so weird to me to see like, after the first week I realized we were so buddy-buddy with so many restaurants close by. Like we'd all close and it was like this meetup, like here's some food from us. Like everybody just kind of took care of each other. And I was like, this is weird. Like, aren't these guys competitors? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of when I realized, like, there's room for everybody.
There really is.
Right? Yeah. And there are still people that do things better than others. Mm-hmm. And the cream will rise to the top for sure. But yeah, I mean.
Well, I think that's what's happening now with laced hair is, there are a lot of new extension companies propping up. But yours has always been this aspirational brand. Best hair, best colors, best quality. Highest prices, proudly premium, but now these new ones are trying to come in lower and all they're doing is justifying how good your hair is.
Proudly premium.
Oh,
It's like how you threw that in. Like that's actually like a really
that in
cool.
My notes
yeah.
Right now.
That's actually a really
Freshly
cool
picked
term.
has always been proudly premium.
You're proudly premium.
I sure am.
I love it. I love it. That's really cool because you're right. I saw that with I love Yeti coolers. Mm-hmm. How many brands are trying to copy Yeti coolers, but they never change their prices. They never drop
It just
they are just proudly being like a kick-ass product and charging for it. So, wow.
Yeah, and our prices.
My meat is proudly premium. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. My meat is proudly premium.
Brisket.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say
all
meat,
of it was really good.
Because I want people to giggle like Susan when they read it.
Susan's blushing. Take it out.
No, we're not. That one we're not taking out. I am completely comfortable with that one. I will talk about my meat all day long. Okay. So I'm sorry.
We were in Spokane. I was in Spokane last weekend.
Spokampton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And when I grew up in Washington, and when you'd go to Spokane for sports games in high school, there's this old place we'd eat all the time. It's called Dick's.
Right.
And as like a teenager, you can just imagine.
Oh yeah.
And my sister and I went there to eat, and we just became 16 again, and we thought we were so funny. I
think you're funny.
Thank you. I'll tell you the one. I'll tell them later, Lace. I think you'll love them.
I'll bring us back in for a second.
Sorry,
I have a question about how long have you been remarried?
We got married last October.
This dude,
2019.
in my mind, I am picturing the most confident man that walks Mother Earth.
Oh, I would call him confident.
Yeah,
Because
like, just
this
like
is-
one step. Well, like he straddles confidence and arrogance. Like that line.
Oh, he's one of those?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the thing, like, you either have to, I was like, okay, for her to get married, right? Like, she's this baller.
Badass. Yeah.
Right. And that can be intimidating for a lot of dudes. So I think we're knocking out about 90% of the male species right there, right? They're going to be a little intimidated. But yeah, you've been married before. Like, you've been through some hard stuff. It's like, you don't need a man, right? We'll say that. But
the nicest guy ever.
see, and that's the thing. So I'm either thinking either the sweetest, most humble, like backseat
He's not
drive,
humble,
like
no.
guy, or
But he is
know.
sweet.
He's so sweet. He's awesome to my boys. And he's like the cutest dad to we just had a little girl 6 months ago, and he's just like mush to her, of course.
mush.
But he's very supportive, and he is I was very attracted to his drive, and he's a very hard worker. I think he's a badass. He's really smart. He's a Salt
what's
Lake
his
guy.
name?
His name's Hugh.
Hugh. You got to be confident to have a name like Hugh.
Huey, if you're in the know.
Huey.
Hugh West. Yeah,
My dude Huey.
Hugh West
Yeah,
the
Huey.
third. He's
Hugh
a
West the
third.
third.
That's he's fancy.
Yeah, I was
Fancier
gonna
than
say,
my redneck
he's probably
upbringing.
premium.
You know? Yeah, probably
You've got-
premium.
If you've got a third
like
at the
that.
end of your name,
Yeah.
He is proud.
how'd you guys meet?
I was set up by a friend.
Really?
Yeah.
What up, Margot?
And you were okay
Margo.
with that?
Margot Andrus, actually.
So she's a trusted friend, I take
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah,
you
she's
know
one of my
she's going to
closest
set you up
friends.
with quality.
Yes.
And pretty quick, like you kind of knew, or how? Listen, we talk about this on the podcast all the time. Like, I get a lot of feedback from my female friends that listen to the podcast. Like, the second anybody mentions like how they met someone, you go down that street. Like, don't just say like, "Oh, that's cute," and then switch.
Yeah.
Like, go down that street. So
So
we're gonna go down the street a little bit. If that's okay.
Margot, I was obviously single at the time, and I was like, Margot, doesn't Tyson, that's her husband, doesn't Tyson have any friends? And she's like, well, I don't know if he has any single ones right now. And
There's some pending divorces. Like, check back in a few months.
Probably.
Yeah.
the irony. But she's like, but I actually have my dad's best friend. His son just got divorced, and I grew up with him, and we went to school together. And she's like, he's super fun, really outdoorsy. I think your boys would love him, like how outdoorsy he is. I like that she threw the kids in there because she knows I don't go on a lot of hikes.
Right.
But I mean, I do like the outdoors. That makes me sound kind of
You are
basic.
super outdoorsy.
But anyways, and I was like, all right, like, let's see this guy. And she showed me a picture of him, and I told you, the Subaru long curly hair guy. So, but he was so cute, and he had these big green eyes and this curly hair, and I just, as cheesy as it sounds, there was like something a little bit different about him. And I was like, all right, well, let's hang out. I want to go out with him. And then she was trying to be the one to set us up, and it just never happened.
Right.
So I took the initiative to like try and stalk him on Instagram, but he was private. So I requested to be his friend, but she had already told him about me too. So he accepted it and
Look at you.
played hard to get.
When she wants something, she gets it. She
Yeah.
goes after it.
yeah.
And
She's amazing.
so
And
we
I'm
started
glad
talking.
that love wasn't ruined for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because that's kind of hard too. Like, it's hard to not get bitter about stuff sometimes. And I think that it's a little easier for women to be like not have a dude than it is for us to not have a woman.
100%.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Girls, a lot of
It's-
girls I know.
For
like,
sure.
Yeah, I
It's
was,
like, I
I
don't
was
need-
happy.
Have you heard grandma on TikTok says this, that it takes a real good man to be better than being alone for a
That's a
woman.
great saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. So I'm still doing okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it can be touch and go.
We're talking about Lacy.
But yeah, okay. Whew. Sorry, I just need a lot of validation. I'm a man.
So what was your first date?
So it's funny because I was in Miami on a work trip, and he's a closer actually. He's a really good salesman and very persuasive. And he talked me into coming
I
home
feel like
early
there's a
from
lot of good
Miami.
stories there.
And so
Wow.
yeah, so I took an earlier flight home, And
those green eyes, there are only 2% of us that have them.
yeah, I have green eyes too. I have to steal some of the thunder from that. But yeah, so I came home and he picked me up from the airport. But to get home, I had to take I left Miami. There's no direct flight from Miami to Salt Lake. So I left Miami at like I think it was 2:45 a.m. So I had flown, had a layover in Dallas or something, and then flew all the way home. He picked me up from the airport at 8 in the morning or whenever I landed. And anyways, yeah, he picked me up from the airport. That was our first date. But we'd been like flirty and really cute.
So he talked you into coming home
Instagram.
early and you guys hadn't even gone on a date yet?
But we'd been really like talking all day long on
Good-looking
Instagram.
man.
He is good looking.
What does he do?
He works for a tech company in Seattle. He is their, he runs their wholesales organization.
Oh, wow. But is he based here or just?
Yeah, he's remote.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess everybody's remote now. Huh?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
kinda-
And he was
been for a long
remote
time.
before it was remote. You know, he's always been a remote
Well, how
employee.
cool. So how long did you guys date?
We dated for 2 years before we got married.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
and has he had kids before? Been married?
No,
before?
he was married, but no kids.
Wow. See, and that'd be hard, right? Like if you don't have kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like just having 2 kids all of a sudden. But man, having that daughter off the bat's a good one.
Yeah.
Because that'll mush him up real good.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
like
Right.
just as a friend, because I was front row, but like most second marriages, they really fought to get where they were. Like
Right.
it was not just like, oh, let's go on a date, let's hang out, and then in 2 years we'll get married. Like they fought. It was a
For sure.
fight.
Well, if you're both successful, you're both working hard. I mean, that would be tough.
And then their wedding was one of my favorite weddings I've ever been to. It was super fun.
Why? What was the best thing
Just
about it?
because it was,
The drinking. I'm
No.
just kidding.
there was just so.
This is on video.
It was
just
super
so you know.
intimate. It was super
We have
intimate.
9 people that watch these on YouTube.
It was super
I didn't
intimate.
know
There
it was
was
on
what,
video.
like less than 30 people there.
Yeah, it was really
Oh, that's
small.
cool.
We each could invite 3 friends. And then obviously our siblings.
Was this because of COVID or is that just how you
No,
wanted to
we
do
got
it?
married pre-COVID, thank goodness.
How cool. See, I love when people get remarried, they like all the crazy stuff from the first one, like
Yeah.
maybe the diamond's still
I think
important.
that's
But I
it.
feel like some of the more like, what do we call? I don't want to say shallow
All the
stuff,
fluff.
but all the fluff.
Yeah,
Like,
they
Well, a lot of
stripped it
times
all
people
down.
get married for their parents almost, for
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
parents' friends. And
Yeah.
this one we're like,
you just realize what's important on the second
Right.
one. Like,
but
get
we
rid of
got
all the
married in
fluff.
Palm Springs.
Mm-hmm. At his
And-
parents' house, and his dad did the most beautiful.
Yeah, his dad is.
It was
just,
a beautiful
he's a
ceremony,
sweetheart.
Wow.
and then it was just like a fun party celebrating you guys the whole time, and it was a really fun night.
Yeah,
How cool. Good for you.
thank you.
That's a win. You have lots of wins, but you earned them.
Yeah,
And I guess you earned this one too. You stalked him on you stalked him on Instagram first.
yeah, I did.
She is.
And he
She
took
sees
like
something she wants,
he took
goes
like
and
a
gets it.
day to follow me back. I'm like, oh, Mr. played so hard
Don't
to
you love
get.
it? See, I love that.
But I wasn't private, so I know now, but he'd already been stalking me for a
Interesting. How old is this? Just recent, right? A couple years ago, or how long ago?
Well, I mean, we've been together like almost 4 years.
Wow, isn't that
So-
funny? So you're 33 when you met,
I was 32, but I mean,
32.
who's
right? Of course.
That
But
was
isn't it funny
32
how
was a good year.
even at 32, we're like doing what the high school kids do. Like he took 27 and a half hours to follow me back.
Well, I mean, in her defense, she didn't have time to be dicked around.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Sure.
if he's going to take more than 24 hours, if it was 48, probably you would not have gotten a ring on that finger.
You know, that's
Yeah.
that is a good point. And
Yeah.
and that's why I say I think the story's fascinating because Homeboy had to play his cards probably perfect, right?
He did
but
not.
also not show like
I'm here to
you
tell
can't be
you.
too interested, right?
He did
'Cause
not
you
play
girls
his
don't like to
hand
be
well,
liked too
but
much.
Lacey was very forgiving and kind.
Those green eyes, man. There's that picture. She must have had a picture on her phone. Those curls and the green eye,
She's
like
so hot.
I know those
him
girls.
sprawled out over a Subaru. Just like,
He has a few motorcycles too. Okay,
oh, that's hot. Ducatis, what are they?
He does have a Ducati Scrambler and a Triumph. Also,
He has all the popular bikes. This guy's cool. I'm excited to meet him. I want him to
You'll
come
like
in. I
it.
want to just talk about the story.
You would love him. He's
he's actually a really incredible storyteller, and he's a lot, huh, Susan? He would own this. He's a lot in a good way. Like
Right.
he's fun.
He's
fun.
so
sure he's fun. You're
dynamic
fun.
and charismatic and sweet
That's awesome.
and engaged with you and remembers details about your life and like he's a really good.
Well, I mean this. You deserve every ounce of it. All these good things, you deserve it. You are amazing. And I'm glad I got to reconnect with you because we learned that we had hung out. Well, it was in your office, right?
Yeah, it was like
well,
in
and I've been here when you used to have
13.
parties when like the blogging scene was
came here
kicking
for a
off.
party
those
with
were
Billy.
so
Yeah.
fun.
I used to live in Provo, so
Okay.
I don't get to come down here very as often.
Well, it's all right.
It's so far from Salt Lake. You know?
Listen, I need hair extensions, so I'll bring food to you. I'll feed your crew,
I will trade you.
and I will work off some hair extensions.
There we
Hair
go.
for meat all day.
That's what I'm saying. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
Yeah, I'd have about 25 cents.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, poor Brent.
Maybe 15.
Lacey, thank you so much for coming down,
thanks
and
for having
thanks
me,
for
guys.
sharing. Your story is amazing. Everybody, so how do we follow you? I mean, we have your laced hair
Yeah,
extensions.
so Lace Hair Extensions
On
on
Instagram.
Instagram. Also our charity, Lace Hair Foundation. And my personal is Lacy Gadegaard.
She's private now, everybody. So you're gonna have to earn it. I'm just kidding. She's not. I followed her last night. So I'm a fan. I'm gonna stay following you because you're awesome.
I'll try and keep it interesting then, just for you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, guys.